5 Best Steampunk Anime of All Time. The steampunk genre is inherently creative and imaginative. Thanks to the broad definition of what steampunk is, creators can take their stories and worlds in unique new directions. So, here are best 5 steampunk anime of all time. Number 5. Princess Principal. Princess Principal's opening wouldn't sound out of place on the Persona 5 soundtrack, and there are actually a surprising amount of parallels to be drawn between the two. Granted, the heroines of Princess Principal are spies rather than thieves, but they're at least broadly involved in the same sort of stealthy escapades, and their spy costumes wouldn't look out of place among the Phantom Thieves. Despite the stylistic similarities, Princess Principal establishes a distinct identity for itself. Steampunk Victorian Britain is a novel setting for a spy story, and that the main characters are all female further helps the series to set itself apart. Number 4. Cabannery of the Iron Fortress. Zombie apocalypses are getting played out as a premise, so it's becoming increasingly necessary to put a novel spin on that premise to stand out as a zombie story. Cabannery of the Iron Fortress does a very good job at setting itself apart from other zombie anime thanks to an imaginative spin on a zombie story and stylish art and direction. Set in an alternate history Japan devastated by zombies called Kabane, the human characters have been driven into fortified train stations and travel between them in giant armored trains. The Kabane themselves are horrifying, the action is intense and brutal. The whole series has a really cool steam-powered samurai aesthetic that creates a one-of-a-kind atmosphere and allows for some unique plot beats with the premise. Number 3. The Case Study of Vanitas. The Case Study of Vanitas quickly establishes a few stylistic choices that help set it apart from other popular vampire anime series. The opening scene of the very first episode narrates the history of Vanitas like a storybook or fairy tale with a unique ink and paper animation style resembling illustrations in a book. Fittingly, the actual Book of Vanitas, a powerful book of magic, plays a major role in the events of the plot. Although the series version of late 1800s Paris contains many steampunk artistic flourishes, up to and including giant airships shaped like buildings, it is nevertheless a recognizable recreation of the real Paris, with many of the city's famous landmarks identifiable. Although the Case Study of Vanitas has a very idiosyncratic and established sense of humor, the series blends that with emotional depth and the horror aspects to be expected of a vampire story. Number 2. Last Exile. Last Exile follows air couriers Claus and Levi as they find themselves tasked with delivering a girl named Alvis to the crew of the pirate ship Sylvana. While the military aspects of the series are reminiscent of live-action historical dramas like Sharp and Master and Commander, but taking place in the sky rather than at sea. Many of the plot beats come across as a steampunk version of classic space opera anime. The crew of the Sylvana, pirates rebelling against an oppressive government regime, owe a clear debt to cult classic sci-fi anime hero Captain Harlock and his crew. Last Exile is a pretty CGI-heavy series and, unfortunately, the 3D effects for the battleships and some of the environments haven't held up well. That's not because they're poorly done. It's simply the result of CGI technology coming a long way since Last Exile debuted in 2003. The soundtrack is phenomenal, with a jaunty Celtic style that wouldn't be out of place in a pirate story. It's fitting, given that Last Exile basically treats the sky like an ocean. Number 1. Fullmetal Alchemist, Brotherhood. Thanks to its engaging cast of characters and compelling plot, Fullmetal Alchemist, Brotherhood has gone done as one of the most popular anime series of all time. In fact, Fullmetal Alchemist is a serious contender among fans for best anime of all time. The world building in the series is particularly impressive. With a setting based on early 20th century Germany, Fullmetal Alchemist has a design aesthetic that really sets it apart from other fantasy and steampunk series. The details of the fictional world are quite impressive. Creator Hiromu Arakawa put a lot of thought into her world building and magic systems. Notably, the way alchemy works in the series is grounded in real historical understandings of alchemy, magic, and chemistry.
Thanks for watching this video. Hope you like it, and if you like it, please subscribe to this channel for more such contents.